Today our topic is the link between Stoicism and Minimalism. Both Stoicism and Minimalism are ways of thinking and living that help us focus on what truly matters. They teach us to let go of things that are not important and to find peace in simplicity. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that started in Greece and Rome. It teaches us to control our emotions, accept what we cannot change, and focus on being good people. Minimalism is a modern idea that encourages us to live with less, to keep only what we need, and to avoid excess. At first, these two ideas might seem different, but they are actually very similar. Both Stoicism and Minimalism ask us to look inside ourselves and think about what is truly valuable in life. They both teach us that happiness does not come from having more things, but from having the right mindset. Let's start with Stoicism. The Stoics believe that the world is full of things we cannot control. The weather, what other people think, or even what happens to us in life are often beyond our power. But what we can control is how we react to these things. For example, if it rains on a day we planned to go out, we cannot stop the rain. But we can choose to be upset about it or to accept it and find another way to enjoy the day. The Stoics believe that by focusing on what we can control, we can find peace and strength. They also believe in living a simple life. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." This means that even if you have very little, if you are content, you are rich. But if you always want more, you will never feel satisfied, no matter how much you have. Now let's talk about minimalism. Minimalism is about living with less. It's about keeping only the things that add value to your life and letting go of the rest. A minimalist might have a small wardrobe with only the clothes they love and wear often. They might live in a small home with only the furniture and items they really need. Minimalism is not about being poor or giving up everything. It's about choosing what is important and letting go of what is not. Minimalists believe that having too many things can make life complicated and stressful. When we have less, we have more time, space, and energy for the things that truly matter, like relationships, hobbies, and personal growth. So, how are Stoicism and Minimalism connected? Both philosophies teach us to focus on what is essential. Stoicism tells us to focus on our own thoughts and actions, because those are the things we can control. Minimalism tells us to focus on the things we truly need and value, because those are the things that make our lives better. Both Stoicism and Minimalism ask us to let go of what is unnecessary. For the Stoics, this means letting go of worry, anger, and desire for things we cannot control. For Minimalists, this means letting go of physical possessions that do not add value to our lives. Both philosophies help us live more intentionally. They encourage us to think about what we really want in life and to make choices that align with those values. Another way Stoicism and Minimalism are connected is through the idea of contentment. Both philosophies teach us to be happy with what we have. The Stoics believe that true happiness comes from within, not from external things like money, fame, or possessions. Minimalists believe that happiness comes from living a simple, meaningful life, not from accumulating more stuff. Both Stoicism and Minimalism remind us that we do not need much to be happy. In fact, having too much can make us unhappy, because it can distract us from what is truly important. Stoicism and Minimalism also both encourage us to be mindful. Mindfulness means being aware of the present moment and paying attention to what is happening right now. The Stoics believe that by being mindful, we can better control our thoughts and emotions. Minimalists believe that by being mindful, we can better appreciate the things we have and make more intentional choices about what we bring into our lives. Both philosophies teach us to slow down, to think carefully, and to live with purpose. One of the most important lessons from both Stoicism and Minimalism is the idea of detachment. Detachment means not being too attached to things whether they are physical possessions or emotions. The Stoics believe that being too attached to things can lead to suffering. For example, if you are too attached to your car, you might feel upset if it gets scratched or stolen. But if you practice detachment, you can accept that these things are temporary and not let them control your emotions. Minimalists also practice detachment by letting go of things they do not need. They understand that possessions are just tools, not sources of happiness. By detaching from things, both Stoics and Minimalists can find greater freedom and peace. Another similarity between Stoicism and Minimalism is the focus on self-discipline. The Stoics believe that self-discipline is one of the most important virtues. They thought that by practicing self-discipline, we can control our desires and make better choices. Minimalists also practice self-discipline by choosing to live with less. They resist the temptation to buy things they do not need, and instead focus on what is truly important. Both Stoicism and Minimalism teach us that self-discipline is not about depriving ourselves, but about making choices that lead to a better life. Stoicism and Minimalism also both emphasize the importance of gratitude. The Stoics believe that we should be grateful for what we have, even if it is very little. They thought that by being grateful, we can find contentment and peace. Minimalists also practice gratitude by appreciating the things they have and not constantly wanting more. Both philosophies remind us that there is always something to be grateful for, even in difficult times. In conclusion, Stoicism and Minimalism are two ways of thinking and living that have a lot in common. Both teach us to focus on what is essential, to let go of what is unnecessary, and to find happiness in simplicity. They remind us that true happiness comes from within, not from external things. By practicing Stoicism and Minimalism, we can live more intentionally, with greater peace and contentment. Whether it's by controlling our thoughts and emotions, as the Stoics teach, or by simplifying our possessions, as Minimalists do, both philosophies offer valuable lessons for living a meaningful life. So, if you want to live a life that is focused, peaceful, and fulfilling, consider the wisdom of Stoicism and Minimalism. Let go of what you do not need, focus on what truly matters, and find joy in the simple things.